Here's what's cooking on the day's Sports Stove Local Hour. We're recapping win number one on the undefeated EKU season. We'll talk about that. We got some great guests on as well. Linebacker Kyle Kelly and tight end Hunter Brown will be joining us. That's what's cooking on the day's Sports Stove Local Hour.
McKinney looks, steps into pocket, throws, open receiver, touchdown! Colonels, we're not done yet!
Our identity is we're going to press for 40 minutes, we're going to play up-tempo, we're going to play with unbelievable passion, and then our brand is the most exciting 40 minutes in sports.
Welcome in to an all-new edition of the Sports Stove Local Hour, presented by All Around Roofing, Central Kentucky's number one go-to for anything regarding roofing, siding, windows, gutters, and anything on the exterior of your home. Visit allaroundroofingky.com for more information. I'm Vince Stover. I am joined once again by long snapper and EKU legend, Jonathan Duff. Hey, Duff, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. And last night, win number one in the games that matter, undefeated so far in the games that matter. And talked with Coach briefly about that after the game. And I said, undefeated. And he said, well, at home. I said, yeah, that's true. So either way, conference win, I know that felt good for you guys.
Absolutely. Everything feels better after a win. So getting into the win columns is huge for us. All our goals are still in front of us like they were last week. So taking care of business this week keeps us looking straight ahead to all of our goals and just keep moving on week to week. So definitely just a great feeling.
Do you feel like what you guys saw out of West Georgia is what you guys were expecting to see out of West Georgia?
Yeah, I feel like it. That game wasn't the score at the end, it shows that we won by almost 20, but that game was a tight fought ball game. They have some really tough competitors on their team. That quarterback can sling it. Some receivers were making plays out there. We're familiar with Chiari on the other side of the ball making plays. So, we knew they were no joke coming into that game and just knew to just make sure to treat it as such. You know what I mean? So, going from FBS to FCS, there's no difference still. The portal's still real. They got all their FBS transfers. They're still a very good football team that is going to win a lot of games this season. So, and they gave us a good battle. They gave us a good fight.
So from the games that I have covered at EKU, I felt like this was the most prepared the team has looked in all the games that I've seen. And you guys have won a lot of games in that time. I just felt like offensively and defensively, well, and I think special teams too, it just looked like everyone was dialed in. And I said this in the article I posted this morning on bellyupsports.com, my EKU Week 3 pros and cons article. I thought Jake Johnson, what he did today, was the best game he has called. And I know the outcome makes it easy, and everyone say, oh, yeah, they only held him to 7 points. They held him to 7 points, all that stuff. But I'm talking about from all the different looks that he gave. I mean, there were multiple different packages. I thought the personnel he put on the field just made so much sense. There were times where there was the extra DB, which is usually a safety. Saw Jalen Houston in there, Sirwall in there. Those guys, and that's your guys' deepest, one of your deepest, most talented groups back there, safety. So he put in an extra safety at times. He had the 4-down linemen at times. And then, of course, the base defense as well. Cam Jr. was running around playing great football. Kyle Kelly was playing great football. There was a lot of good things going on last night. Offensively, Andy Richmond, who I last week in my article kind of called out, and I love Coach Richmond, but I just said it's predictable. Everything was so predictable. And I felt like last night the play calling on offense was just great. There were mistakes or penalties and some drops and things like that, but I really felt like everything that you guys did from the coaches to the players just looked right last night. And I thought it was really great to see and encouraging as well from a fan perspective, because, there was discouragement coming into this game, only 7 points in 2 games. And we knew they were good opponents and all that kind of stuff. But this one was an encouraging game, I think, overall. And even though there are things for you guys to fix or improve upon, there was so many good things last night. Outside of just the win, I know that brings all kinds of great energy in the locker room, but did you feel that as far as guys being really proud of just the product put on the field last night?
Absolutely. I think you can look at the game and see a lot of good football, like you said, in all three phases. I mean, Jacob Baker put him inside the 23 times, but I think it was inside the 10 3 times, and he flipped the field, which was a huge weapon for us. The defense did a great job cashing in on those when he did pin them, but also when, they had a drive, I think it was their first or second drive of the game. They got down into the red zone. Defense didn't panic, pulled out the stop, and they missed the field goal, And then on offense, I think what was great to see was the execution at the end of the first half and that 2-minute situation, trying to get the ball down the field, hurry up offense. That was great. And then you saw the contrast, which is something that we've struggled with at times in the past, in my past years here. We were able to go into the fourth quarter with a lead and lead a 9-minute drive with 14 plays that ended in a touchdown. We were able to eat that clock up and control the lead and run a longer drive to, keep the ball in our hands, pile on. So sustaining that long drive in the end of the game, which helped seal the deal for us, and also being able to have the 2-minute, showing diverse options on offense. And then, like I said, defense handling every situation well, special teams. It was really a great team win.
Yeah, I agree. You go back-to-back weeks with these long drives. Against Western, it was that 11-minute, 46-second drive that Cam led. Coming into this game, the scuttlebutt was we were going to see some Cam Herga. Everyone was assuming, and this was people within the program, saying, Matt's the starter. He's going to be the starter, but you will see Cam. And, well, we didn't. And that's because Matt played some good football tonight. There was no reason to change it up necessarily. And actually, Matt ran a little bit in this game too. We saw him scramble even early and often. I want to go through a couple of these things real quick. So opening drive, let's see here. Opening drive, the defense stood, held, everything was good. Vito had a really good play on that one in coverage on that drive. Then you guys come out on offense and you get the field goal. You get the big play from Jalen Montgomery, who's another guy we'll talk about. Huge game for Jalen Montgomery. But he had the 46-yard catch. Then a sack and an offsides penalty, push it back a little bit, end up getting the field goal. I want to talk about that because first one was a miss. But there was the penalty that moved you guys forward and gave Pat another chance to kick again. This is he didn't get a chance to kick a lot of field goals in the first two games of the season. And so here he comes out, he gets the first one. Is there any conversation from the first kick to the snap of the second kick between you guys?
Not so much, if he hits it, we got our thing where, we've done this together a long time. So if he hits it, go up, hey, great hit. If he doesn't, go up, hey, you got the next one, all the confidence in him. So we like to, I'll help him out with that. And then on punts, he'll come off the field and he'll come up, hey, good snap. It's just stuff like that and keeping everything positive and confident on the sideline.
Yeah, so thankfully the first one didn't count. We got the penalty. He got a second crack at it, knocked the second one through, and then also had another one later in the game as well. So ended up being 100% on the night from there. Let's see here. Then again, the defense, another great stand. What did I want to get to? Let's see here. You mentioned the missed field goal. That was the second West Georgia drive that they drove down, and then they missed the field goal. So the defense all night was great. They allowed the touchdown at the 7-minute mark in the second quarter. But outside of that, phenomenal. They had several stands, third down stands, fourth down stands, stands in the red zone. Like there was some great stuff at the end of the game. The fourth down stand, all that kind of stuff. That it wouldn't have. Had they scored, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. But obviously, the defense didn't want to give up another score. Let's talk about Jalen Montgomery. He has the 46-yard catch, yes, but on the special teams, he gets the big kickoff return that was, I think, 42 yards, and then a punt return, 22 yards that put him in great field position as well. One of the things I've talked a lot about this offseason is Braden Sloan's departure. I felt like the biggest way you guys were going to miss him was going to be in the return game because I knew Josh Carter was going to be fine at the running back position, and by the way, Brady Latham's been awesome too. But Braden Latham, sorry. And so, anyways, two great returns. for Jalen Montgomery. Coach talked about it after the game as well. Just the things that he has been showing. Now he's playing gunner as well. So his special teams role is really growing, it seems like, as the season goes on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the only thing that comes to my brain with Jalen Montgomery is he's a spark plug. I mean, to touch the ball, I don't know how many times he in total, like 3 to 5 times, and have 3 explosive plays is huge. And I think that's something, me as a player who's seen him this entire time that he's been here since the summer. Few guys are able to come in the summer and mesh well and honestly have a voice and lead in the way that he has. He came in, he's all business all the time, and now he has a good time. Like, he jokes around, but when it's time to lock in, he's locked in, and he brings just a very like professional aspect to the locker room, and he approaches it like a pro. And he's just a good guy that we have around. I'm glad that we have him for a transfer to show the leadership traits that he has, and for him to come up big in the game was awesome to see, because he deserves that.
Yeah, man. Columbia, South Carolina native, played at MTSU, which is where I grew up, and transferred in this year. Great addition. Coach was saying he's the third running back. Like, at the end of the day, that's just where he is right now. So he's found a way to get on the field, and the return game and also coverage teams as well. Coach spoke very highly of him after the game, of course, today. Jacob Baker, you mentioned him already. He had 3 that were down inside the 20. He had another one that would have been, it bounced off the player's chest and went into the end zones. That would have been 4 right there. He was, again, just spectacular. It's more than just hitting it as far as he can hit it. It's now we're seeing the placement as well to continue to see the growth of Jacob Baker. And I'm a Jacob Baker fan for sure. It's pretty cool to see him performing the way he's performing.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you've heard it from everyone that's ever talked to anyone about Baker. Is you see it every day in practice. He has some insane potential to just be a phenomenal punter here, to play many years of football after this. His leg strength and power is unmatched. And so I think it's just exciting to see him get comfortable. It's the early part of his career. It's his 3rd game ever playing, and you can see each week he's gotten more and more comfortable, and is starting to show those punts and the flash of the Jacob Baker we all know.
A couple things that looks like still needs to be worked on, because I think overall everything was incredibly positive. Like I said, overall, very, very good game. There was 3 times that the EKU offense started on the good side of the 50-yard line. 2 of those set up by the returns by Jalen Montgomery. But in all 3 of those, they ended up with punts. So there was 2 3-and-outs, and then 1 they did get a first, but then they got a sack, 2 sacks actually, that put them backwards. They ended up having to punt on those. Those are the little things, right, that over the next couple of weeks you guys kind of have to perfect to the point where, hey, we got to finish these drives, and even though the outcome was great and all that kind of stuff, those are the things you got to take advantage of those opportunities.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything's great after a win, but that doesn't change the way we look at the game once Monday film come on and everything like that. And so I think the biggest glaring improvement that we need to make is when we get down towards field goal range, don't do anything to get yourself out of field goal range. We were on the fringe, like you said, 3 different times, and they all ended up being punts. So we just got to make sure that we're moving the ball forward and not shooting ourselves in the foot on 3rd down or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, on 2 of those drives, they were sacks that sent you backwards. The other one was just didn't quite get to where it had to get to. And then defensively, there was the forced fumble that I think was ultimately credited to Jacquez McGowan, recovered by Sullivan. There was a lot of controversy in the press box on who actually forced that fumble, but I think that's where it ended up getting given to. And then I gave Gabe Fletcher a sack. It's not going to go in the stats. The quarterback went down right in front of Gabe. And I looked over at the guys doing stats, and I said, that's a sack, right? And they're going, no, quarterback gave himself up. I was like, I don't know. The reason he gave him up is because Gabe was sitting there staring at him.
Yeah.
So we will credit him with the sack here on this show. We also got Mike Smith Jr. with 2 forced fumbles on the year compared to what the stats have him at. But nonetheless, shout out to Gabe there. And then I was given Ryan's dad a hard time after the game. It's like, why is Ryan laying on the ground every game? Like every single game, we got Ryan laying on the ground, getting his legs stretched out. So had a good time with that too. Of course, Rhino had a good game as well. So a lot of good things last night, and it was a lot of fun. My family was there. A lot of fun watching and things like that too. So. All right, well, let's get into guest number one on the night. Excited here. Let me pull up. I got to make sure I got all my stuff pulled up here. Probably should have had that ready to go beforehand. But first guest of the night is going to be EKU inside linebacker. And let me get the right page up. Here we go. Kyle Kelly. Hey, Kyle. How you doing, man?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
What up?
Doing awesome. Kyle, you led the team last night. I think it was 11 total tackles is what they ended up giving you. And tackle for loss, or got half the credit at the very least on that one.
Yep.
We've been talking about just the joy of winning again. How good did it feel last night to walk off with a W?
Really good. Everybody's happier. The locker room's fun. Feels great today, hanging out today, hanging out with friends and everything today. Everybody's happy and it feels good and stuff. It's nice. It's a lot different the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. How do you feel your role has changed now that you've been around a little longer? How do you feel your role has changed this year on the defense, maybe compared to even last year?
I feel like now it feels like I feel like the QB of the defense nowadays. I feel like I know the defense, have a well-rounded, understand the defense more than I did last year. And I feel like I came into more of a leadership role this year opposed to last year where I was a new guy coming in. And now I'm kind of like established. I've been starting the whole year and stuff now. So like now I came to more of a leadership role, which I love doing. I love being able to lead the guys out there and kind of telling everybody where to line up and kind of running the show out there.
Yeah, and I feel like for what it's worth, it doesn't matter my opinion, but I feel like you look a lot more comfortable. Not that you looked uncomfortable last year, but it just seems like you're flying around a little faster this year than last year.
No, I totally agree with you. I feel confident. I feel a lot more confident. As I said, I feel like I got a much better understanding than I did last year, and so it makes me play faster. And I feel we got a great defense this year that really loves to play with each other, and it allows me to make plays and run around whenever I want.
Now you went down at the end of the game last night. You feeling good? Everything good there?
Yeah, I should be good. Just a little tweak my knee a little bit, but I should be good for next week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's easier to ask firsthand than try to ask Coach, because Coach will never tell me anything. So.
Yeah. I try to keep on the down low too.
Yeah. No, it was a finger. You hurt your finger. Everything.
Yeah, exactly. A little fingernail.
We go. Coach Wells is more in the hockey injuries, lower body injury. It's about all you get. You don't get much going on from there. But talk about just the culture here at EKU. You came in from Ohio, and you had to kind of be introduced to the culture here. Mm-hmm. Jonathan was a part of building the culture here, and you came in and you were introduced to the culture. So what do you think the culture at EKU is like right now? And have you seen it change at all in the time that you have been here?
I really have. I feel like last year we've always had a good culture ever since I've been here. A lot of good guys, a lot of good guys on the staff too. I feel like everybody's bought in. Everyone wants to win, obviously. But I feel like this year more than anything, I've noticed a lot of guys stepping up to be leaders. Like guys like Duff. We got 7 captains this year. I feel like a lot of guys are really stepping into the leadership role opposed to last year where we had a couple leaders here and there and stuff though. But I don't know. I feel a lot of guys are getting more comfortable in their system. A lot of guys have been starting for maybe 2-3 years now. And I feel like a lot of guys are stepping up more than we have in the past years I've seen. And even at teams at OU, we have a lot of leaders in this EKU, especially on defense. I know for sure a lot of old guys that kind of can run the show and kind of know what they're doing and kind of can motivate guys, I guess, more than I've seen in my 6 years being in college.
It really felt like the West Georgia offensive line was very chirpy last night. Yeah. Was it the whole team? Was it just that unit? Was there a guy? It just seemed like every time I looked down there, it seemed like somebody on that O-line was just chirping away at the defense.
Yeah, obviously the first conference game, it's always going to be a little chippy and stuff. And they definitely had a couple guys that were in particular. I'm not going to name any names, obviously, calling any guys out, but there are definitely a couple guys in particular that will love to talk every play after the play. We got in trouble a couple times. I think it was I don't even know what happened, but I think Jeremiah Bailey got a little bit into it with a guy, and then Gabe Stevens a little bit too. But we didn't get any penalties. We kind of handled ourselves in a better manner than I thought we would, just because the guy was doing some outrageous stuff. But yeah, it was good overall. I feel like we handled ourselves pretty well post the last week at WKU towards the end of the game. What happened there?
Yeah, and I think it's probably easier right when you're winning. They
Yeah.
can chirp all they want to. You can just say scoreboard. And
Yeah, just point to the scoreboard real quick. Shut him up real fast.
Yeah. All right, Duff, what do you got for Kyle?
Yeah, I got one for him. So most people should know this. Kyle, your brother, played here, played linebacker, got the Roy Kidd Award, being able to come here and follow his footsteps a little bit. Tell me about just kind of like the kind of impact that he's had on you as a football player beyond just being a brother,
So Chris, my brother Chris, he's my closest in age. I guess I have 4 older brothers, and he's the closest in age to me. And so we've grown up. He's always been my role model. Like that guy's always been a guy I've looked for advice. And I've always obviously wanted to do whatever he did. And he played at EKU, and I've always kind of saw myself playing, wearing the maroon and white. I've got a bunch of offers out of high school, so it kind of didn't go that way. I kind of really explored my options and whatnot, but I loved coming back and being able to transfer here and wearing the maroon and white. I mean, I have 2 uncles that played here. One uncle played baseball, one uncle played football, and then Chris, obviously. And Chris has been awesome. Chris is the one that got me the connection with Coach Johnson here, because Coach Johnson was here when Chris was here too, and Coach Wells was also here when Chris was here. So I had a bunch of connections already, and that really kind of opened the door to transferring here, really. And I love being here. He loves it too, obviously. He texts me all the time about Richmond, and he's always want to hear stories and talk about football and talk about Richmond. He calls it Rich City all the time and stuff. So he loves this place, absolutely loves it. But yeah, he's the guy I always looked to for advice, and he's been a role model my whole life.
That's awesome.
Now, you grew up in Newport, is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So I know this is a weird question, but being in Newport, did you consider yourself Kentuckian or Ohioan?
That's what I always struggle with. Because I always want to say Cincinnati, because when I went to OU, a lot of guys, nobody's from Kentucky really. Everybody's from the Ohio area. And so I'm trying to say Cincinnati, I'm from Cincinnati, and guys would figure out that I'm not actually from Cincinnati. And I'd hear all about that. And I'm like, dude, I'm 10 minutes from downtown area. I'm right there. I can spit across the river right there. But everybody wants to give me shit about, no, you're from Kentucky, you're from Kentucky. And I just got a lot of backlash being from Kentucky and from the Ohio guys saying oh, you're some hillbilly, a kick or whatever, redneck. And I'm like, it's not really like that at all. But yeah, I've definitely always kind of played that game where I can say Northern Kentucky area, Newport, I can say Cincinnati. Kind of depends on the crowd, but yeah, it's always kind of been a game I've played being in college and stuff where I tell people where I'm from.
Yeah, it's a tricky place to be from for sure. We talked about this briefly earlier before you came on. So over the last 2 years, I guess we didn't talk about this. Over the last 2 years, I've been a little critical of Coach Johnson. And I've tried to be as nice as I can about it. I'm never going to call for him, never have, and never will call for any of the coaches to be fired, anything like that. But 2 years ago, the defense really struggled against the run. Last year, it was the big plays.
Yep.
So coming into this year, there was kind of this mindset. There was a lot of coaching changes, but the coordinator stayed the same. And so I really felt like this was a big year. It's obviously a big year for Coach Wells, just in his contract state, and for the staff. So Coach Johnson comes in, and the defense has played really well, I felt like. After the first 2 possessions at Mississippi State, I really felt like you guys settled in, played really good football. Western was pretty good football as well. Then last night, I think it was the best called game in my time covering EKU. And I felt like the things that Coach Johnson was doing with the packages, the different personnel that were going out there, the way that you guys were matching up so well against what West Georgia was trying to do, I thought was incredible. So I say all that to say this, because I know I'm an outsider and I don't know what's going on the insides of the room.
Yeah.
Everyone I talk to has great respect for Coach Johnson, and I do too. I don't mean to presume that I don't.
Yeah.
But tell me about Coach Johnson, specifically this year, what you're seeing from him and just how you guys were able to execute that game plan last night.
I mean, Coach Johnson doesn't really change year to year. I mean, I absolutely love the guy. I have nothing but great things to say about him. He's my favorite coach I've ever had in college. This year, it goes to show you what happens when everybody pays attention to details. Everybody does the little things, like how good we can play, especially on defense, where I feel like last year, a lot of stuff that explosive plays and whatnot, for example, was all details, all small things. And it goes to show you a bunch of guys that are playing fast, playing hard, and knows what they're supposed to do on each play, and loves playing for the guy next to them. And I feel like Coach Johnson has done a great job of really preaching passion, preaching, because on defense, you might not be in the right spot, you might be doing the right thing, but if you make up for the strain and playing hard, everything works out. So that's the main thing, is playing with effort, playing hard, playing fast every time. Coach Johnson did a good job at emphasizing that through camp and through the season. And I feel like we got a couple of games under our belt coming into West Georgia, so that kind of helped us too. A couple of new guys coming in and playing a new defense, new structure, and everything. So that kind of helped a little bit too. But Coach Johnson's great. I love him so much.
And again, I want to clarify and just make sure. I don't think I've ever said anything, but I just want to clarify. I am pro EKU. I'm for Coach Johnson. I'm for Coach Richmond. I'm for Coach Wells. All that kind of stuff.
Yes.
At the same time, I'm also I always speak my mind at the same time. So,
Yeah.
That being said, you were the only position group that didn't have coaching change on the defensive side of the ball this year. So you got some of the same voices with Coach Johnson. Maybe a little bit of Coach Day, but mostly Coach Johnson. And what's it been like, though, having some other voices? I know Coach Johnson's the main voice that you get, but having some new voices this year. We talked about this with other guys throughout the offseason. It seems like it brought some good energy to the team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Coach Matthews, Coach Watson are two guys we brought in that I love too. They're great guys. You can tell they know a lot about ball. I think both of them were defense coordinators at the past place they were at, and one of them, I think Coach Watson was a head coach at one place at I think some Navy prep school or whatever. But I mean, two guys that obviously know the game very well. It helps when you can get guys that help out besides defense coordinator, coaching everything basically. Two guys that can really prepare each position group, prepare their position groups every day before the game, and it really helps a lot helping him out and stuff. But I mean, I love those two guys. Coach Matthews brings a lot of energy every day in our meetings, and he's a great guy to bring juiced up all the time, and I love him. So yeah, it's been really, really good. New guys we got in.
Now I noticed one play last night, and I don't know if you'll even remember this, but it was the only play that I saw a little bit of panic. I couldn't see your eyes, but I would assume panic in your eyes. Running back, I think it was, came out of the backfield, and you were kind of on the right side of the defense, and you were running full speed trying to get over towards the EKU sideline, and they didn't end up throwing it to him, but he was going up the sideline.
Yeah, we were in man coverage, and so two inside linebackers have the back, and I guess I was on the side of the back. Yeah, he jet motioned across, and I know they're trying to go there right away. Like he's trying to get open to go free right on the sideline. Yeah, I spurned my ass off trying to get over there because I knew that's where he was looking immediately. But thank God I made it. I was hoping he threw it because I made it there in a good time. But yeah, I was definitely don't love guarding backs like that, little small guys like that, but it worked out good enough. I think we got the stop there on third down, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. I was sitting there watching, and I was like, "Uh-oh."
I know. I was running my ass up over there.
I love it. Duff, what else you got for Kyle?
Yeah. We know a little bit about Kyle Kelly, the football player, but why don't we tell the fans about Kyle Kelly, the person? What's your plans once your football career is all said and done? What are your plans?
So like me and you've talked, Duff. You know this. I plan on going to law school after I graduate. I guess I'm already graduate, but once I finish my graduate school or graduate program, I plan on going to law school. So yeah, I'll probably go somewhere around here, Cincinnati, Kentucky, and stuff. And I don't know, see from there. I guess it's kind of all open right now. I'm kind of focused on football as we speak now. But yeah, I mean, I have a cousin that's a lawyer right now. I've gotten a lot of tips from him, and I've shadowed him a lot. And kind of found that interest through him almost through high school and college and stuff. And yeah, I took the LSAT and this past off season, and yeah, planning on going to law school here starting 2025 in the fall. So
is that contingent on what happens after college as far as opportunities after college to play football?
Of course. Yeah, of course. Obviously, the dream's always go to NFL. I mean, that's what I've always dreamed of as a kid, is playing in the league and stuff. I'm sure all my brothers want me to play in the league too, so they can keep watching football and stuff all the time, every weekend. But yeah, I mean, obviously, everything depends on what happens after the season, how the season goes and stuff like that. So
now EKU has produced several guys in the league in different degrees over the last couple of years. Matt Jackson, he's down in Jacksonville right now. TK McClendon in Tennessee. Josiah, of course, in New Orleans. We're actually in production on a documentary on Matthew Jackson right now as well. We're working on getting done. But does that, seeing guys that played at the same university you're at, does that give you that much more confidence? I mean, I know eventually all comes down to your talent, but does that give you extra confidence knowing, hey, guys have gone there, they've gotten the opportunity from being where I am?
It definitely shows you that it doesn't matter where you are, they'll find you. It definitely shows you that talent's everywhere. Obviously, in a small school, you don't get as many looks, but I mean, EKU, I feel like always has guys going to the league every year, and obviously creates more looks and more scouts around our program and stuff. So obviously it makes it easier for us too, because they know guys are coming in and out of going to the NFL from EKU and stuff. So yeah, I guess kind of tells me that they'll find you regardless. You don't got to worry about being from a small school or anything.
Yeah, it's all just about producing.
Yeah.
Let me think. I had one more thing, and I can't remember what it was. But your guys' room, it got shrunk a little bit through injuries here in the offseason. And so it's kind of right now you, Maddox, and Braden Sullivan are the three main guys right now.
Yeah.
Maddox missed last week as well. But Braden's new to the program, but you've experienced that before. How do you think he's adjusted?
Really well. He's a good kid. Drain's young kid, great kid, works his ass off, does everything you want him to do. He's always like, we'll stay in the hotel and stuff. He's every night before we go to bed before the game. I always go in his room. We'll talk about the game plan and go over the stuff we need to do and things we need to look for and scout the guys a little bit. So it's like he's all the way locked in. He's going to be a good player here. And he's got a lot more eligibility left too. And he's done a great job adjusting. And
it seems like Maddox, he had the coach's eyes early on this summer, and he's obviously earned his spot as well and gets the opportunity. And it's all about taking advantage of the opportunities that you get. Any thoughts on him as well coming into this season?
Same thing. Max is a great player. I know Max last year, so we're pretty close. Max is a hell of a player. When he first came to EKU, when I transferred in, I knew right away. Kid is something special. I mean, he's a young kid still. I think he's a redshirt freshman, and he's got years and years to develop still, and he's already leaps and bounds ahead of where I was when I was that young. So he'll be a great player. Same with Sullivan.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Kyle, I appreciate you coming on, man. Great game this past weekend for sure. Looking ahead to Moorhead this coming week to keep things rolling as well. Yep. But hope the finger gets feeling better very soon. And looking forward to seeing you out again next week, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Kyle Kelly, EKU inside linebacker. There. Appreciate him. Again, huge game for him this week, 11 total tackles, leading the team this week in tackles. And like I said, you see him just playing free Duff. I mean, again, not to say that he didn't last year, but definitely he seems a lot freer this year as he plays.
Oh, yeah. He's the heart of our defense. His energy, his desire, his work ethic. I mean, he's everything you want out of a linebacker. So we're really lucky to have him and his leadership.
Awesome. All right, let's bring in guest number 2 today. He holds the title as second best stash on the team, and in the tight end room. Hunter Brown joins us. Hey, Hunter, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing good. Do you guys argue about mustaches in the tight end room, or you just accept what Russ has got?
We do sometimes, and we just had a new addition to the tight end room, Jackson Hensley. He cut up his beard and had the stash, so he also joined the conversation here recently. So
looky there. Yeah, how about that? You guys are influencers. Hey, welcome back to the field, by the way. I know you couldn't play week 1, but you're back out now against Western. Didn't get any touches. So you got the opportunities more this week. Let's start with just the win, though, right? How good did it feel?
Oh, any day you can wake up on Sunday and you have a win in the winners column, you can't complain, even if it's by a point or if it's by 70 points. Either way, it's perfect, and I mean, there's no better feeling.
Now you come into this season, you got some accolades on your name, all that kind of stuff. Does it throw any additional pressure or weight on you coming in with that all UAC nod last year, first team all UAC, Phil Steele all UAC first team unanimous selection? So does that add any weight to you coming into this season?
I really try not to think about it, because once you start thinking about it, then it gets to your head. And the only thing is maybe like teams prepare a little bit more for me and all that stuff. But honestly, I like that they have to try and scout for me and all that stuff. And it just makes me want to play better and do better each week in practice and just up my game.
Now, this week you had 3 catches, 42 yards. 22 of those yards came after the catch.
Yep.
But before we get to the good stuff, I want to bring up one thing. And third down drive, you guys were already on their good side of the field. Pass comes to you, kind of maybe a little of an awkward angle for you. I'm not sure as you're running. You weren't able to make the catch. You came off the sideline. People were hitting you on the shoulder pads, and you were just kind of shaking them off and going to take your moment. Tell me how it feels. What were you going through in that moment?
It just like, I don't know. Sometimes I get in my head a little bit. It's obviously disappointing when I know I can make the play and I just didn't make the play for my team. So obviously we were in like scoring. Like we could have scored a touchdown, hopefully. And I don't know, just whenever I can't make a play like that, I just get in my head a little bit, but then I just have to shake it off real fast, and that's what I got to get a little bit better at. So,
Well, and you did because you came back later. I've got all my notes here, and I didn't do a good job of highlighting this week. Down near the end, you're the last touchdown drive. You had a big catch on that drive as well, so you made up for it later in the game as well. So I'm not knocking you for it. I'm just always curious to get the mindset firsthand from you guys on how that feels and kind of what you go through in that, and especially with the kind of a long summer for you, right? Trying to just be on the field consistently.
yeah, no, it definitely shakes with me a little bit, but obviously I can't lose confidence in myself. I have to be able, like, I know that the type of player I am, and I know the plays I can make. So I just shake it off, and hopefully I can get the ball again. You know, I block hard so I can get the ball and hopefully make plays for the team.
Coach said in regards to the offense last night, he said, well, that's what you get when the tight end gets to practice and the receivers get to practice and you actually get to go through the reps throughout the week and things like that. Obviously, you're still getting to know Matt as a quarterback on the field and things like that. So how crucial has that practice time been for you?
Oh, you have to practice a lot. Receivers, tight ends, anyone that can get the ball, you have to practice a lot with the quarterback, and you obviously have to get a lot of reps. And this past week, you know, like Coach said, we did get a lot of reps, and it showed on Saturday, but we obviously still have more to correct, and hopefully, like, as we build through the season, we just get better and better and stronger as a unit.
What's the biggest difference on the ball, receiving the ball from Matt versus Parker?
I don't know, but maybe Matt throws it a little harder or something like that. But they're honestly pretty similar. But that's what I've noticed. So
Yeah, I wondered how much that mattered, I guess, because again, I'm just a fan. I just watch from the sidelines. I've never played, so I didn't know if that was because I know like catchers, talking to the catchers, every pitcher's a little different. I didn't know if quarterback was that much different as far as catching balls from guys.
no, I haven't really noticed it. He maybe throws it a little bit harder, maybe, but it's really the same. If he was a lefty, then it'd be a completely different story. But
Yeah.
thankfully he's a righty, so it's really pretty similar, at least for me, from my experience.
Yeah. All right, Duff, what do you got for Hunter?
Being a tight end, you got to run routes, cut, a lot of wear and tear there, but you also got to bash heads with the big boys in the middle. So obviously been a little banged up to start the year, but feeling better now. But I want to go back to last year a little bit. You know, we had a banged up tight end room. You stepped up your first year here, played every single game, played a ridiculous amount of snaps. Talk to me about like a day-to-day and how you take care of yourself to be able to do that.
Well, normally I start with, the breakfast check. And then I would normally immediately go to the training room and I would try and get as much stuff like roll out. Whatever's like bothering me the most that day, I would probably get like cupped or simmed or something like that. And then I would go home, do whatever I got to do, come back in early, do a little bit more before practice and stuff. And that's how I kept my body going for the whole season. So
Now, if Duff's playing tight end, like we were putting Duff in the tight end room, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, it seemed like your long snappers were tight ends also. That's how it used to be back in the day. So obviously Duff can play any position he wants. We know that.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
Throw Duff in the tight end room. What's his strength in the tight end room?
Ooh, what is his strength? Well, it'd have to be blocking. You know, he played line in high school, so he might be a little another Chevy. just the lighter version,
Lighter
maybe
Chevy.
slightly faster version of Chevy.
I'd have to grow a mustache then.
You would have to grow the stash out. I mean,
The
once
whole
you become
tight
a
end room, I think, is doing that.
Exactly. Once you become a tight end, this thing would just go away, and it would just be this.
Doesn't Coach Keyran have one too?
He does have a mustache.
Yep.
Looky there. Talk about the other guys in the room. We haven't had a chance to talk. I'm trying to think. I don't think we had a tight end on the show yet this year when we were doing our position previews. No, we did, but I don't remember who it was now. But anyways, Schlachter comes in later in the summer. He comes in. He's earned some playing times. Of course, Zach's been pretty good as well and seeing some playing times too. So tell me about the tight end room. You said the new addition as well. So Yeah, what's that room like? Especially, last year there's some turnover there.
Yeah, there's turnover. So obviously we brought Caleb in the summer, and I hosted him and stuff. I when I met him, I was like, this guy could fit right in with all of us. Like he's a good guy, good character, all that stuff. And obviously I was excited for him. He scored this past Saturday,
Yeah.
and each week, like from Mississippi State to game 3 right now, like he's improved so much. I'm just happy to see like he's taking the coaching and just getting better and better to where I'll be in the game and like I'll come out or whatever, and there's going to be no let off with him going in, and same with Zach. So
Yeah, and Zach's another guy who had a summer. Like coming out of the summer, everybody was like, "You got to see Zach Russell." Like this kid, things he's doing right now is impressive, and he felt like he really earned his snaps this summer as well, and the progress that he made throughout the summer. Overall, with the offense though, last night it got going, scored points, had the penalties, and had some drops and whatever, but overall, I'm guessing just getting on the scoreboard as much as you guys did was a pretty exciting feeling.
Yeah, obviously scoring 7 points in 2 weeks is not like it hurts you as an offense. You're just like, man, can we do this and all this stuff? But then when you finally actually get some points going and you're like, all right, we can actually we're actually a good unit. So that's good to see. It gives us confidence, and hopefully now that we've seen what we're capable of, we can even do better each game and keep scoring points. Because obviously defense played great last game, but we would like to score 30 plus points a game. So,
and I felt like you guys were there last night. You take away the penalties, that was 2 touchdowns taken back due to penalties. And then I think you look at it, you guys were up 10-0 with pretty much the whole second quarter to go. And it even seems like last year, most of the time, you guys didn't score very quickly. It was more second half or later second quarter got things rolling. Mm-hmm. How crucial do you think getting ahead early is for you guys this year?
Oh, it's huge because you want to, getting ahead early, like I'd say last year we would get ahead or we would be behind and we were like, all right, we actually have to score. But this year we need to score, get ahead, and keep going and not look back. We don't want to get too laxative, and hopefully we can just keep going. Each possession we want 3 points or a touchdown. So that's a big thing this year.
Duff, what else you got for Hunter?
Once again, tight ends, popular position. Obviously in the NFL, we see a lot of superstar tight ends. There's the common answers, the Travis Kelce's, the George Kittles. But do you watch any of them and model your game after them or try to pick up things from any of them? And if so, who would that be?
My favorite tight end is probably Dallas Goedert. He plays for the Eagles. I'm an Eagles fan, but that's not really why. He came from South Dakota State, which is FCS, and I just think he's a great run blocker and a pass catcher at the same time, and he really doesn't get all this recognition. Obviously, I think he's a great tight end, but he's humble about it. He's sneaky athletic, and he can do everything that you're asked to do.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Dallas Goedert, fantasy football, great value pick down there in the later rounds.
Oh yeah.
He does have that AJ Brown and Smith out there that kind of steals some numbers for him, of course.
Exactly. Those guys are dogs.
Yeah. Now you say you're Eagles fan.
Yep.
You're from Pennsylvania, is that right?
Yeah, I'm from Northern PA. I'm from Wellsboro, Pennsylvania.
Okay. And so Eagles your whole life?
Yeah, my family doesn't really watch football, so I became when I was younger, my favorite color was green.
Yeah,
and it still is. But then I was like, I kind of like them. They're green, and then they just kind of stuck with me. So now they're my favorite team.
Yeah, I find that funny. And Duff, I don't think we've talked about this before. I talked about it with Ryan. Ryan's the same way. He didn't watch a lot of football. It's like you guys, well, when you're playing, you're busy playing and whatever. So is that still true? Now, how often do you guys just sit down and watch a football game that's not watching tape of your opponents?
I like to keep up with our conference and stuff like that, but I don't watch anybody else. Sometimes guys will say someone's name and he's pretty big in college football and all that stuff, and I just I don't know him because I'm a college football player myself. Like, I mean, yeah, they might be go to the big schools and all this stuff, but I just don't pay attention to them because I focus on myself and like what we got going on and all that stuff. So
Yeah, Duff, same for you.
Yeah, it's definitely hard too with our schedule and game day. You're preoccupied. All you want to do is think about the game and get your meetings and stuff like that in. So I would say the same since I've been in college. Me growing up because my big family and everyone being football fanatics. I always watch football every single Saturday, every Sunday. But it's a little harder now just because I'm way more focused about the task at hand for us. And as far as Sunday goes, I'm worried about getting homework done. So.
exactly, I literally just got done doing homework probably 15, 20 minutes ago.
Yep.
There's not a day in my life that I don't thank the Lord I'm done with school and I don't have to do any schoolwork. So
last semester that really hit me. I was like, man, I can't. I don't know if I could do this anymore.
just get through it. It'll be worth it. I promise.
Oh yeah.
Next week's Moorhead, then Robert Morris, 2 straight. You'll end up being 3 straight home games for you guys as well. And then of course the Western game was only a couple hours away. So before the big trip out to Utah and Texas the following week. So enjoy the no buses and planes for the next couple of weeks for sure. And hey, Duff talked about this. All your goals are still in front of you. Undefeated in the conference, undefeated at home. Winning the conference and winning home games, I know is a big goal for you guys this year as well. So congrats on being on pace to accomplish that as well. Next week's Moorhead. Me and Duff are getting ready to talk about that, but in-state game, not something that's super common as far as playing Moorhead and stuff like that. So any thoughts, Hunter, on the game next week? And I'm sure you probably haven't watched a whole lot of Moorhead film yet.
No, I haven't really watched any yet, but it'll be exciting because I actually have. So I transferred from St. Francis, and one of my buddies transferred from St. Francis and goes to Moorhead State now. So it'll be fun. We'll probably talk a little trash to each other and all that stuff, but it'll be fun. And I'm just ready to keep winning games.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, Hunter, congrats on getting things going the right direction again this season. And good luck the rest of the way, man. Excited to cheer you on again next week. And thanks for taking some time for us today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Hunter Brown, tied in, EKU. He's all UAC, all that good stuff there as well. And I'm sure it's nice to get those guys back on the field, Duff, when you got guys of his caliber that miss time. It's you I'm sure can appreciate guys getting their opportunities, but at the end of the day, you want the most talented guys on the field.
Definitely. He proved last year he's a huge weapon to our offense. Everything can open up when they have to worry about the big target running down the field or who's going to come crack him on a block. So he is just like I talked about Kyle being such a weapon and so valuable to our defense. Hunter's the same way to our offense. So getting him back on the field right when we start FCS play, conference play, it's I think it correlates with a lot of our success that we had last night.
Did you guys, you being from Dayton, I didn't even think about this. Do you look at, we were talking with Kyle earlier, do you look at Newport as part of Kentucky, or is it Ohio, or have you ever thought about it?
Yeah, I've partaken in a lot of that friendly banter before being on the opposite side. So where he says he's from, or where he was at in Ohio with all these Ohio guys, I'm in Kentucky with all these Kentucky guys who tell me they're from Cincinnati. And then I go, oh, what school in Cincinnati? And they name a Kentucky school, like a Kentucky high school. And I'm like, you're not from Ohio. Like, don't claim my state. But it's all just like, it's kind of funny because like none of that matters when you grow up. And then all of a sudden you go to another state or you got people with conflicting views. All of a sudden you're battling for whatever state you're from when you really don't care that much.
You guys do have Moorhead, which is a Kentucky school. You've got them this week. I'm not sure. I have not taken the time to look at the history of Moorhead and Eastern, but it's definitely not the same as Western and Eastern. So you guys have played 5 times. You have won all 5 times. 4 of those games are at home. 1 was on the road. The last matchup was back in 2018. You guys won 49-23. So there you go. There's some fun history on the game. You guys played them 2008, 12, 13, 14, and then again in 2018. Any thoughts on, like I said, I know you guys haven't been watching film yet on this. So any thoughts on playing Moorhead next week?
Yeah, no, I I haven't gotten to see much of them. I know they got a couple wins, I think maybe early in the season. Played Montana last week. I just checked some scores like that. But I'm sure, I mean, in state, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of guys beyond just Hunter. I mean, we got a lot of Kentucky guys on the roster, so I'm sure there's a lot of guys that have friends at that school, that I think there's going to be a lot of tight connectedness between the two teams in that way. And I know one of our QCs actually used to play there, Josh McClurg. So I think just it's the same mentality no matter who steps in. Same thing with West Georgia, same thing with Moorhead, same thing with whoever else we face in the year. They've got dudes, they've got players. It's college football. You can never expect to lose or to win by a bunch. So it's going to be a dogfight every week. So just excited to be at home and get a chance to play them here.
Now, last time that EKU played Moorhead, the quarterback was Dakota Allen, 9 of 14 at a touchdown. He got sacked one time as well. Let's see here. Daryl McCleskey ran the ball 14 times for 127 yards. LJ Scott, 14 carries for 86 yards also. So taking care of business there. And Jackson Bierman, that's an interesting name. 2 catches, 31 yards. Dakota Allen was the second leading receiver as well. He was the starting quarterback, and he had 1 catch for 28 yards, the second most yards in the game.
Does it say he punted in that game?
They do not have, let's see, do they have punt stats? They do have punt stats. No, he did not.
Okay. Dak had one game where Phil was hurt and Dak punted like 8 times also. He's Mr. Do It All. He has like a stat in every single category for football.
That's crazy. Yeah. Good old Dak. I hope he gets a shot soon. I don't know what he's working on right now, but I'd like to see him show up in the UFL or something like that. Moorhead, they are 2-1. They played Central State. I don't even know who that is, where they're from. Beat them 17-10. They beat Kentucky Christian 48-7. And then, like you said, Montana last week, they lost 59-2. So they got a safety in that game. And now, of course, they'll come in and play you guys here as well. They have had 5 different quarterbacks take snaps so far this season. I don't know. One guy has a large majority of those. So I'm not sure if that's just letting guys play or what's going on there. Leading rusher has 115 yards on 30 carries, averaging 3.8. Receiver has 8 catches, 164 yards. That's pretty good. 2 touchdowns. And another guy with 5 catches, 124 yards. So 8 for 8 from extra points, 3 of 6 for field goals for Schwartz. So anyways, it's going to be fun, man. I'm excited. I think it's always good to get in-state games going on. Let's talk about this real quick. The crowd, obviously Kentucky was playing same time. They were playing the number 1 team in the nation, Georgia. And anytime Kentucky has a home game, same time as you guys, it always tends to pull the crowd a little bit north. Seemed like overall, though, a decent crowd out there on Saturday.
I think it was a great crowd. And, you had made a comment, I think it was last week, if it rains, please stay. And they showed up and showed out. They stayed the entire game. They were a huge part of the success. It's awesome looking up. It was the maroon out. So you look up in the stands, even the upper deck, you got a bunch of maroon up there. The hills got maroon. The visitor side has maroon right behind their sideline. So that was so great to see. And that's part of what makes this place so special is the support from the community. And so, and the people who used to, the alumni. So, that was really awesome to see, first home game, packing it out. That means a lot.
Well, I know my family came, and then we brought 3 people with us as well. A couple of kids on the basketball team came with us, and their mom too. So it was a fun night all the way around. I will admit the second quarter kind of dragged a little bit. It was a long second quarter, but the second half it was great. The whole game was fun because you guys were winning the whole time, so that was nice. That was, of course, nice as well. So awesome. All right. So we're back at it Saturday, 6 o'clock kickoff again against Moorhead Saturday night. I don't know. I want to get out early and kind of just swing by some of the tailgates and meet some people and stuff like that too. I did not get a chance to do that this past week, but And then I got to talk with Rhino's dad a little bit after the game as well. After the press conference, he was still out there, so went out and chatted with him a little bit too. So, but nonetheless, I appreciate everyone that tunes in and listens to the program and supports the program. We really do appreciate it, and appreciate Kyle and Hunter coming on tonight and chatting with us too. Duff, any closing thoughts before we sign off?
No, just love this winning feeling. Hope to take it into the week and have a good week of prep for Morehead State. And then once again, just appreciate this show, and appreciate the fans for showing out this week. That was a huge part of the game yesterday, and it was a fun time.
Awesome, man. All right, so 1 hour from now, I will be live again on 2 shows tonight. But it'll be the Sports Stove Fantasy Baseball Show. We're entering into the Fantasy Baseball Championship this week. Not to brag, but I am entering into the Fantasy Baseball Championship this week. So me and my co-host Kevin will be talking all about fantasy baseball. We've only got 2 shows left on the season for fantasy baseball. And so tune in tonight if you're still playing fantasy baseball, still in your playoffs or championships. We've got lots of advice for you tonight coming up at 8 o'clock right here on the Sports Stove YouTube channel as well. And then Wednesday night, my dad will join me. We'll be talking NFL, giving our picks for week number 3, college football recap of things as well, Major League Baseball playoffs, all that good stuff, playoff races and all that good stuff as well. So tune in there. Follow us on social media at Sports Stove on Twitter and on Instagram. If you follow us on Instagram, you saw a picture of my family last night, and you see the good side of the Stover family over there as well. So thanks for tuning in tonight to the Sports Stove Local Hour. Check out allaroundroofingky.com if you live in Central Kentucky and have any needs on the exterior of your home. And tune in next week. We'll be recapping Morehead State and looking ahead to Robert Morris as well. Thanks to Duff. Thanks to Hunter. Thanks to Kyle for coming on tonight as well. Until next time, we'll see you around the Sports Stove.